Welcome to this series of short videos on the Unitary Patent and the Unified Patent Court. Thank you very much for joining us. My name is Sergio Escorza, and I am the head of the Patent Department at Hungria. Hungria is a leading IP law firm founded in 1891 with headquarters in Spain and 15 own offices across 5 different jurisdictions: Europe, the USA, Argentina, Brazil, and Mexico. For more than 130 years, we have been growing on the basis of keeping up with developments and advances of science and technology, tailoring our service to the requirements and needs of our clients, focusing on continuous education on both technical and legal issues to be at the forefront of change, and strongly believing in the importance of high quality, commitment, and honesty in our services. I will be presenting to you these 2 issues, the Unitary Patent and the Unified Patent Court, which are united in a single package and represent the most important reform of the patent system in Europe in decades. The effects of the entry into force of this system will change the rules of the game, both for European patent owners and for all those companies and people who market their products anywhere in Europe. In these brief presentations, we will see how both the Unitary Patent and the Unified Patent Court work, what they entail, how they affect us, and what steps we should take before entry into operation. We have divided our presentation into 5 blocks, which will be covered in 3 videos, so that we have the opportunity to cover the most important aspects that will affect owners of European patents. Let us begin then by presenting the context of this new system. This reform combines the existence of a patent with unitary effect in a number of countries with the existence of a unified patent court for all participating countries, and will enter into force in the absence of extraordinary circumstances in a matter of a few months. Only EU, European Union countries, although not all of them, participate in this system. Therefore, all countries party to the European Patent Convention that are not members of the EU, as well as a few EU countries, are excluded from the system. The situation, as of today, is the one that appears on the screen. So far, 16 countries have ratified the agreement. Germany's ratification is a condition sine qua non, and it is this ratification that will set in motion the countdown to entry into force. Therefore, it is expected that the countries that will have signed and ratified the agreement by the start date will be the 17 marked in green. Subsequently, and as they ratify the agreement, the countries marked in blue would join. And 3 member countries of the European Union will be left out of the system: Spain, Croatia, and Poland. Of course, and importantly, those countries participating in the European Patent Convention that are not members of the European Union, marked here in red, would also be excluded from the system. Among them, and to highlight, the United Kingdom or Switzerland. So, let's have a look at the first component of this new package, the European Patent with Unitary Effect, also called Unitary Patent for short. A unitary patent will constitute a single patent title for all those member states of the European Union that have ratified their participation in the system. It will originate from a European patent. This means that the patent application will be filed with the European Patent Office in the same way as it is done currently, and will also be prosecuted in the same way. The only difference appears after grant. Once this European patent has been granted, it can be validated in 2 different ways. On the one hand, the first option would be to validate the European patent only in those countries of the European Patent Convention that are of interest to us. That is, as it is done currently. The second option would be to validate the European patent as a unitary patent, which would have effect in the countries that are members of the system at that time. And in addition, also to validate this European patent as a non-unitary bundle of national rights in the European countries of interest that have not yet ratified the agreement, that are members of the EU but do not participate in the system, such as Spain, Poland, and Croatia, or that do not belong to the EU, as for example, the United Kingdom or Switzerland, among others. Of course, national patents are not affected by the new system and can continue to be filed as before. The application for registration as a unitary patent must be made within a maximum period of 1 month from the date of grant. This period is different from the 3 months available for country-by-country validations. It shall have effect in all participating member states at that time of registration. This implies that the territorial scope of unitary patents will be different for different patents, depending on when they are registered. These unitary patents will also be subject to the possibility of an opposition procedure before the European Patent Office, as it is currently the case. And what about the cost for obtaining a unitary patent? Well, up till grant, the cost will be the same as for any European patent. The difference will come at the time of registration, since the translation cost will be different for a unitary patent than for traditional validations. The procedure, which will apply for a transitional period of at least 6 years, is as follows. For patents that have been filed in French or German, an English translation of the entire patent, not just the claims, must be filed. And for patents that have been prosecuted in English, the translation, also complete, will be into any official language of the EU, not necessarily German or French. In any case, for the grant to take place, the claims must be filed in the 3 official languages of the European Patent Office: French, English, and German, as it happens now. Regarding annual fees, the scheme that has been adopted is to pay a fee price equivalent to the sum of the annual fees for the 4 countries where European patents are most frequently validated. Thus, registering a European patent that has been granted as a unitary patent entails a number of possible advantages and obviously also possible disadvantages. Among the advantages, a potential reduction in translation requirements and costs during the transitional period we mentioned of at least 6 years, a potential reduction in the cost of annual fees depending on the number of countries where it is validated, a validity in at least 17 countries, a number that eventually will be increased as new countries ratify their participation in the system, and in addition, the fact that a unitary patent will be always under the jurisdiction of the UPC, about which we will talk in our next video. This, as we shall see, could be considered an advantage, although it might be also quite the opposite. Obviously, and as a counterpart, there also may be potential disadvantages, including a possible increase in translation requirements and costs, if validation usually takes place only in countries of the London Agreement, that is to say, countries where no translation or translation of only claims is required, a potential increase in annual fees if validation usually takes place in a small number of member countries, the fact that the patent will not have effect in member countries that have not yet ratified the agreement at the time of grant or in countries that are not part of the system, which would imply additional costs if we are interested in those, or the fact that it will not be possible to abandon validation countries selectively during the life of this patent to, for example, save costs in light of changing circumstances. In addition, we must be aware that this unitary patent will always be under the sole jurisdiction of the UPC. In our next video, we will see how this unified court will work and what it entails.